the one thing I believe President Trump was the most successful thing in doing since he's become president is allowing the left to actually remove their mask and show everybody who they've truly been this entire time. They've always, encroached on, liberties or freedoms, little by little. Hate speech came out of the left. Everything's hate speech and hate crimes. I believe any crime could be considered a hate crime. You're perpetrating a crime against me. That's pretty hateful. Don't be doing that to me. And so I think for me, it was just a slow evolution of actually revealing who they truly were up to the last couple of years, where they said, screw it, took their mask off. This is who we are now. And I think growing up conservative, I listened to people like Rush and for the longest time. And, he was sounding alarm bells, way back in the 90s. Hey, these are who these people are. And nobody, everybody laughed at him and, oh, you're just blowing it out of proportion. But when it came down to it, this is who they are. They're the worst type of fascists out there. They want to silence anybody that has a different opinion, different thought process. Even climate change, they will never debate you on climate change anymore, because to them it's settled science. It's their doctrine. I call them the climate change zealots now. They're the zealots. They're ones out there with their doctrine, and they have to look to it to see how they're going to silence you for going against it. We are in the new dark age as far as that goes.
Yeah, absolutely. Like saying the science is settled, and it's like a religious cult, especially when you talk about climate change. They can't fathom the idea that someone questions the official story on climate change.
Yeah.
And God forbid, they're getting wrong.
Right. It's not even questioning climate change, because I'll go ahead and say, yes, the climate has changed on the planet from the time the planet was created. We went through an ice age. Obviously, there is some type of climate change, but to elevate ourselves to the point that either A, we caused it, or we're the only ones that are able to save the Earth from climate change is putting ourselves, in my opinion, above God. We put man at the top of the thing, and how many times did man let us down? Every single time.
Right. Man wants to be God so bad, and we think in our arrogant minds that we have control over the planet. We don't. It would only take 2 or 3 natural disasters to wipe out all of us. Mm-hmm. And there's nothing we can do about that. I mean, there is the whole, I guess, conspiracy that's kind of been proven true. Operation Popeye with cloud seeding. Right. We can manipulate the weather. We can manipulate the weather, but I don't think we can change the climate. Right?
No. I made the point the other night that, if we implemented everything they want to implement as far as, to get our CO2 levels down, I said it would only take 1 or 2 volcanoes to erupt to wipe out any progress they claim they made with with us, giving up our cars and living in mud huts and eating mud pies and picking ticks off each other.
Yeah. And it's like this Earth is so huge. Like, I think like 70% of the ocean is unexplored, and we only measure ice at the edge of Antarctica. So they don't even truly know how much of it's melting and all of that. It's just, they use the same anorexic polar bear to put on the cover of National Geographic to tug at everyone's heartstrings. Like, oh my God, we just have to vote for a socialist to raise our taxes. That's the only way to save the Earth, is the federal government. They're our only hope, are the federal government. And what's crazy is the climate change alarmists who are screeching the loudest about this are doing the least to change it. And these people, coincidentally, also have the most massive carbon footprint imaginable. Big, huge compounds, 3 to 5 cars, private jets. They're eating burgers. They're driving all the time. They're not doing anything. So that tells me they don't take it seriously. If they don't take it seriously, why should you and I take it seriously? But they're going to lecture us about how we need to change our lifestyles, and we need to stop eating burgers, and we need to drive these cars and retrofit our homes. But they're not going to do it. It's rules for thee, but not for me.
That's right. That's right. And they'll quickly push to the front, children, the teenager from Sweden, And any kind of criticism that goes toward these people, oh, you hate the children. You hate the children. That's why you criticize them. It's like, no, I'm criticizing because they're 16 years old. I doubt they have any more knowledge than most of these other scientist people out here. And two, you're just doing it because you don't want to be attacked. You're using them as a shield. And that was most apparent during the Parkland shooting when they put out, David Hogg and Emma Gonzalez in front of everybody and say, oh, you can't attack these kids because they're victims.
Yep. Human shields. That's what they do. That is exactly what they do. And it's really sad because they're also using fear porn. They'll take kids and put a bunch of fear in them. The world's ending in 12 years. What kind of future are the kids going to have? Well, kids are scared. Did you see that video last year where a bunch of kids went on a field trip? They went to Dianne Feinstein's office and they're like,
I did.
Please vote for the Green New Deal. Please do it. And I don't like Dianne Feinstein at all, but she shut those kids down. She's like, there's no way to pay for it. It doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, I've been in Congress for a long time. The Green New Deal doesn't make sense. It won't work. We can't do anything about it. But her calmness tells me she knows it's not real. The kids believe it. Kids, when you tell kids something like that, they believe it. So they're scared. And you're creating a mind that's eventually going to turn into action and turn into legislation. They're creating the mind that they want to see. So it's all about them slow walking us through it. Because
absolutely. They've been working at this for.
Don't believe it.
Yeah, they've been working at this for the last 30 years, pushing this narrative and creating, like you said, these minds to want this, change. Yeah, I'll give up all my rights if you can just save the planet. They've been successful in fear mongering an entire generation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and as far as the adults who are preaching climate change, we know they don't believe it because the Obamas just bought a mansion on Martha's Vineyard.
Yeah,
the banks don't believe it. I just got a 30-year mortgage 5 miles from the Atlantic Ocean. So I don't know why the bank would give me a 30-year mortgage near the ocean if sea levels are rising. Why is there new construction? Why are investors building along the coast all around the world, not just down here in Florida, all up the East Coast, up the West Coast? Why is everybody living there? For as much as the left hates middle America and they talk about how, it's just this vacant land. Look at all these districts that only have 10 people in it and they can sway an election. I'm like, why don't you people flee the coast and come to the middle America where you're going to be safe from climate change? Why do you live in LA? Why all the people who live on the coast are talking about climate change and rising sea levels, but they're not doing anything about it?